So, hi, Cal. Thank you so much for being here today. The point of these industry insight conversations is to expose students to the field of interest, to their field of interest by delivering content that's particular in that industry. So, let's get started. Can you tell me about your current employer and your current role right now?
Yeah, thanks, Charlotte. So great to be here, and hello to all Holy Cross students and fellow alumni. Cal St. Denis, I am currently the Global Sustainability Director for Johnson & Johnson's MedTech business unit. So I work for Johnson & Johnson, a global healthcare company. It's often a household name, largely because of what used to be our consumer business, products like Band-Aid and Neutrogena and Johnson's baby products, et cetera. At the start of this year, 2023, we actually branched off our consumer business, which is now a standalone company called Kenvue. So a lot of those household brands, Tylenol, I could go on, are no longer associated with Johnson & Johnson. They're their own company. Moving forward, Johnson & Johnson, as one of the largest global healthcare companies in existence, will now be MedTech. Things like digital robotics, orthopedic implants, surgical implants and instruments, et cetera, and what we call now our innovative medicine business unit, which is largely known as pharmaceuticals. Both in and of themselves are massive companies, but they umbrella up into the company that is Johnson & Johnson. A little bit about what I do. So I've actually kind of grown up in the commercial world within J&J. So I had roles in sales, sales leadership, marketing. I did a chief of staff role, some strategy work, some comm ops role work. And now what I do is I jumped over and completely pivoted my career and joined the supply chain team to exclusively focus on the environment and what we can do in terms of the sustainability of our products. When it comes to the healthcare industry, obviously these products are heavily regulated for obvious reason. We'll always keep patients at the core focus of all we do. So patient care and quality are going to be paramount, right? But when we think about sustainability, which is kind of a strange way to think about healthcare products, we think about things about, how can we make implants or instruments more modular? How can we make them disposable or reusable or reprocessable? And we also look at our packaging. How can we explore opportunities to reduce our packaging? Again, there are constraints imposed upon us by regulatory, but can we send smaller boxes? Can we optimize pallets that we send? Can we interface with customers and really decrease the emissions associated with shipping, let's say overnight, and migrate to a more ground focused or a rail focused or a freight ship focused deliver network? So large part about what I do is I focus on kind of the strategy of where we want to be from a medtech business as it pertains to the sustainability of our products in the coming years.
Such an important role, especially growing importance of protecting the environment. And wow, that's really, really interesting. So,
Thank
second,
you.
what skills do you think are necessary for success in the field that you work in?
Yeah, I would say, kind of just an openness to learn. And as any Holy Cross student that is watching this, it's one of the best facets of a liberal arts degree, right? You might be an organic chemistry major, you might be a health studies major, but you're going to take classes in astronomy, you're going to take classes in anthropology, in other, let's say curriculum functions that you might not have otherwise exposed yourself to. And that's very similar to what I do, right? When I started my career, and growing up in a commercial vertical, to switch and then start focusing on sustainability is a dramatic switch. But what prepared me for that was largely leveraging the skills and the experiences I had gained. And then I, over the years, had exposed myself to the sustainability side of our business as well. So I knew a lot about it. Now, granted, I didn't have a formal role in it, but I would take stretch assignments and I would work with that team quite closely to really expose myself to that side of the business. And so where, there's the skill in that is never stop kind of your journey to continue learning, right? So even if you are, a nonfiction reader, test your mind and read fiction. Even if you are a health studies or a biology major, test your mind and really put yourself in uncomfortable situations to take that social studies class or that Greek mythology class that you never, would otherwise gravitate to, because it's going to test different facets of your mind to really kind of open yourself to the careers that lie ahead. So in terms of skills of what I do, that is a huge part of it, is just the openness to learn and to listen. And then I would say as well, really kind of just diving in and immersing yourself in what it is that you are either owning or studying or working towards. So not only kind of continuously learning, but continuously diving into the content to make yourself as best as you can possibly be in that respective field, right? So if you want to get into botany, if you want to get into anthropology, go deep in that.
All right. Next, is there anything students can be doing now to prepare them for this field, such as certain clubs or organizations, classes, or experiences that would make them better candidates?
Gosh, yeah. So maybe a few things, and a large part of it, perhaps I just answered in the prior question as well, is just push yourself, push yourself. Even in the incredibly rigorous academic calendar that is Holy Cross, there is some downtime, and push yourself, get outdoors, explore, go hiking. The Blackstone River Valley is right around the corner. Go explore what that means in that landscape in the United States, in New England, in this beautiful place that is where we get to go to school, right, in Worcester and the surrounding hills. And what that does, it just largely exposes you to the natural side of respecting that what we walk on is finite. And I think especially this upcoming generation really understands and appreciates that. But then with that, you really kind of start to question, how can I do my part? And it's not exclusive to healthcare, right? Who knew that sustainability has a big factor in healthcare products? But it's other industries as well, right? It will expose you to agriculture and forestry and solar and wind energy and all these kind of upstart artificial intelligence and tech companies that are really focused on sustainability. So I think just having a critical lens into what each of us can do to do our part, added to what it is you like, right? I love healthcare. I've always been in healthcare. I have a respect for the fact that people get sick or people get injured and need to get better. And I love having a hand in that patient care journey. But you might, whomever's watching this, gravitate more towards the tech industry or AI, or like I said, wind and solar energy. And so if sustainability is something that really is near and dear to your heart, really kind of foundationally, either through your upbringing as to, really just reading climate science or appreciating that cities like Worcester are warming as all cities are globally, then you'll really start to kind of hone in on, okay, I have this critical foundation as to, I appreciate that I want to do something focused on sustainability. The rest you can organically figure out, and it doesn't have to be healthcare. Like I said, there are so many industries that are focusing on this and really introducing this for the first time.
Did you have that underlying passion for sustainability while you were working on the commercial side?
Great question. I did, and candidly, I didn't know what that meant. So I'm a proud Canadian. I grew up, in the forest with my family, every day, and really respected that I needed to do my part. So the way that I live and the way that my partner and our children live is to really expose them to the world and get outside every day and really respect, what we have. Now, in commercial, where there's a top line goal and a bottom line cut that you need to make, right? It's really quota and numbers focused. I knew that I wanted more in my career than just numbers. And, that's a fundamental part of what we do. We don't progress as a company without driving our strategic agenda. But I also really wanted to learn more about sustainability and climate, how that relates to healthcare. And so, back to my earlier feedback, I just went on kind of a journey to expose myself to this team years ago and understand what that meant in healthcare. Because candidly, probably 4 or 5 years ago, I knew very little about it. I was so focused on what it was that I was tasked with. And I think that, just echoing my earlier point, what it really educated me on was that ability to go out and learn something new that inspired the complete pivot in my career, right, to this function that I now own. Don't be intimidated. And here's what I mean by that. I came into let me take a quick step back. Where my career had set me, I'd largely spoken one language, right? I knew healthcare, I knew orthopedics, and I knew commercial. So I kind of spoke this language my whole career. And what I did is I jumped over and visited a new country and had to learn a whole new language, right?
Mhm.
But kind of continuing that analogy, by jumping over into supply chain in that new country, if you will, I was intimidated at first that I had to learn the new language right away and that I had to become an expert right away because I left, 14 years of where I was largely, I hate to say expert, but I knew a lot about what it was, right? I knew that language really well. And now I went not only to learn a new language, but in a whole different domain. And I look back, and I've only been in role for a year and a half. I was quite intimidated by learning that new language so quickly. And I feel like, for anyone kind of embarking on whether it's sustainability, whether it's health studies, whatever it is that you aspire to do in your career, just don't worry about being uncomfortable. Because I think, like any Holy Cross student, if you have an exam next week or you have 2 exams in a lab, you're going to prioritize and manage your time. You're going to be in dining, you're going to be in Smith, whatever it is, you're going to execute. And so for me, looking back, I was very intimidated. I would say don't be intimidated. You're really set up for success with the way that Holy Cross teaches you to study and prepare yourself and be poised. And so, I would say kind of accept the uncomfortable and don't be intimidated by perhaps what you don't know. Just set an agenda to learn and expedite kind of that onboarding so that when you do make these pivots in your career and go to learn a new function or a new language per se, you kind of have this confidence and this comfort with the uncomfortable.
Well, thank you so much for this conversation, Cal. Thank you for all of your insights. And it's going to help so many other students really find it's inspiring to me, let alone people who have the same sustainability passion. So thank you so much for speaking with us today. And it was so nice to meet you.
You're very welcome, Charlotte, and good luck to anyone watching this.
Thank you so much, Cal.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.